The first time my mother called me the worker bee, she laughed like it was a compliment. Sweet, harmless, almost loving. The second time, she said it into the microphone at my sister's engagement party, and everyone laughed with her. That was the moment I realized the hive had never been mine. I was just the one expected to keep it standing while the queen was admired. I stood near the back of the banquet hall, balancing a tray of champagne flutes I'd poured myself because the caterers were understaffed, something I'd noticed before anyone else. The lights glittered off gold centerpieces, the kind my sister Elise had chosen after rejecting 3 cheaper options with a curl of her lip. She stood on the small stage in a white dress that cost more than my monthly rent, glowing beneath applause. My mother dabbed her eyes dramatically, then waved me over. "This is my eldest," Mom announced, gripping my arm tightly. "She's always been the responsible one. The worker bee of our family. Without her, nothing would get done." Laughter rippled through the room again. I smiled because that's what worker bees do. We don't sting. We endure. From the outside, our family looked perfect. My mother, a retired choir teacher who thrived on admiration. My father, silent but approving as long as things stayed orderly. Elise, the queen bee. Beautiful, fragile, endlessly praised. Me. The extra pair of hands. The backup plan. The one who paid bills on time and never fell apart in public. No one saw me waking at 5 a.m. to work double shifts at the logistics firm downtown, my fingers numb from spreadsheets, my jaw aching from grinding stress. No one noticed how my engagement had quietly dissolved 2 years earlier when my fiancé said I was too tired to love properly. No one asked why I never sat down at family gatherings. Because worker bees don't need rest. They need purpose. Growing up, Elise had been special, sensitive, artistic. She cried easily, and Mom responded like a reflex, canceling plans, soothing hair, rearranging the world around her emotions. When Elise failed her first college semester, Mom called it a creative pause. When I graduated early with honors, she said, "Well, that was expected." I learned young that reliability earned silence, not praise. By the time Elise announced she'd landed the lead role in a regional musical, her dream, according to Mom, I was already managing my parents' finances, scheduling Dad's doctor visits, and loaning Elise money she never paid back. I told myself it was fine, that I didn't need the spotlight. But something had been cracking inside me lately, quiet and sharp. 2 weeks before the opening night, my boss called me into his glass office and slid a folder across the desk. Liv. My name on the list. 10 years of loyalty reduced to a severance package and a rehearsed apology. I didn't tell my family. I didn't want to steal Elise's moment, as Mom would say. Instead, I kept working. Job applications at night, errands for my parents during the day, costume fittings for Elise when she forgot her schedule. When she snapped at me for buying the wrong brand of throat lozenges, I swallowed my anger like I always did. Opening night arrived thick with humidity and expectation. The theater buzzed with anticipation. Velvet seats filling, murmurs rising. Backstage smelled like hairspray, sweat, and fear. Elise paced in her costume, face pale beneath stage makeup. Mom hovered, whispering affirmations like prayers. I stood in the wings, holding Elise's water bottle, watching the curtain rise. The first act went smoothly. Elise sang beautifully, her voice soaring, the audience rapt. Mom squeezed my hand so hard my fingers tingled. "She was born for this," she whispered. Then, halfway through the second act, something changed. I saw it before anyone else. The slight tremor in Elise's hands, the way her breathing shortened between lines. Her eyes flicked toward the audience, wide and searching like a trapped animal. She missed a cue. The orchestra hesitated. A murmur rippled through the crowd. Elise froze. Under the blinding lights, the queen bee faltered, and for the first time, no one knew what to do. And in that moment, as the silence stretched too long, all eyes began to turn toward me. The silence in the theater wasn't empty. It was heavy, pressing against my chest like a held breath. Elise stood center stage, mouth open, eyes glassy. Her lines evaporated under the heat of the lights. From the wings, I could hear the stage manager whisper urgently into his headset. The orchestra shuffled, confused. Mom's face drained of color. "Elise," she mouthed, hands clasped like she could pull the words out of her daughter by sheer will. But Elise didn't move. She swayed, barely perceptible. Then her breath hitched loudly through the microphone. Gasp. Up. The illusion shattered. I can't," Elise whispered, her voice amplified, raw and breaking. "I can't do this." A ripple of shock swept through the audience. Someone coughed. Someone else laughed nervously, thinking it was part of the performance. It wasn't. Elise's knees buckled. Instinct took over before permission ever could. I dropped the water bottle and ran onto the stage, the lights blinding me, the audience's collective gasp like a wave crashing. I caught Elise just before she fell, her body trembling violently in my arms. "I can't breathe," she whispered, nails digging into my skin. "Make it stop." I held her like I had when we were children, when she'd woken screaming from nightmares and Mom had been too tired to come. I murmured the same calming words, counted her breaths, felt the rise and fall of her chest slow. Behind us the curtain fell. Chaos erupted backstage. Voices overlapping, director pacing, cast members whispering. Medic arrived. Elise was led away, wrapped in a blanket, eyes vacant. Mom followed, distraught, barely sparing me a glance. "Why didn't you help her sooner?" she hissed as she passed me, like I had orchestrated the collapse. I stood alone on the stage, heart hammering, the echo of applause that never came ringing in my ears. That night, headlines spread faster than sympathy. Lead actress suffers breakdown on opening night. Videos circulated. Comments bloomed like bruises. Cruel, fascinated, relentless. At home, Mom cried into the phone, calling producers, blaming stress, pressure me. Dad sat in his chair, silent as ever. "Elise needs rest," Mom declared. "And support. We all need to step up." She looked directly at me. "I'll move in with her for a while," she continued. "You'll handle the house, the bills, everything else." I waited for the familiar obedience to kick in. Didn't. Something had shifted on that stage. Inside me. "I lost my job," I said quietly. Mom blinked. "What?" "2 weeks ago," I repeated. "I didn't tell you." There it was. The moment she might see me, not as function but as flesh. Instead she frowned. "Why would you hide something like that? This is not the time, honey. Your sister is fragile." Fragile. Always that word. I laughed then, soft at first, then sharper, surprising us both. "I've been fragile for years," I said. "I just don't collapse where people can see." The room went still. Mom's mouth tightened. "Don't make this about you." But it already was. That night, I lay awake in my childhood bedroom, staring at the glow-in-the-dark stars still stuck to the ceiling. My phone buzzed. A message from an unfamiliar number. "This is Daniel. Elise gave me your number. Thank you for saving her tonight. She never told me how much you do." Daniel. Her fiancé. We talked until dawn. About Elise's panic attacks. About how Mom controlled every decision under the guise of love. About how Elise had always been terrified of failing publicly. "You're different," he said softly. "Stronger than you know." The next morning, I made a decision that felt like stepping off a cliff. Packed my things. When Mom came home that evening, she found my room empty except for a note on the bed. "Worker bees don't survive without rest. I'm choosing mine." Her scream echoed through the house. But I was already gone, driving toward a future I hadn't planned, heart pounding with fear and something dangerously close to freedom. And behind me, the hive began to crack. I moved into a small apartment across town. Bare walls, mismatched furniture, silence that felt too loud at first. For the first time in my life, no one needed anything from me. The absence was terrifying. I cried on the kitchen floor the first night, grief pouring out for the version of myself I'd never been allowed to become. Then I got up. I found contract work within weeks. Hard, unglamorous, but mine. Slept. I cooked meals just for myself. I let my phone ring unanswered when Mom called. Elise texted once. Sorry. Nothing more. Months passed. Then came the letter. An invitation to Elise's rescheduled performance. Smaller venue. Intimate comeback. Mom had written a personal note at the bottom. We need you there. For family. I almost didn't go. But something in me wanted closure. The theater was half full. Elise stepped onto the stage thinner, quieter, her eyes scanning the crowd. They landed on me, and for a split second she faltered. Then she breathed. She performed, not flawlessly but honestly. When she finished, the applause was gentle, earned. Backstage, Mom rushed past me to Elise, praising, fussing. Then she turned, eyes sharp. So, she said, arms crossed. Are you ready to come home now? I smiled, not small, not apologetic. No, I said. I'm building my own hive. For the first time, Mom had no words. As I walked away, I felt it, the sting. Not of cruelty, but of truth. I was never meant to be the worker bee. I was meant to fly. And this time I didn't look back.